In this video, I'm going to talk a bit about World Health Day, which is April 7th, 2021. The theme this year is Building a Fairer, Healthier World. I will talk a little bit about the different recommendations that the World Health Organization has provided on their website. They may add more information after this video gets posted, and you can always go back to their website to get more information as the days and weeks progress. Here is the current website, which you can find by searching World Health Day 2021. They provide a brief overview of the main interests and concerns for this particular World Health Day. And then toward the bottom of the page, they provide specific goals that they would like us collectively around the world to work on in order to accomplish that perspective of building a fairer, healthier world. So you can go to this website anytime you'd like, just by Googling World Health Day 2021. Here are those goals on the PowerPoint slide. The World Health Organization would like us to work with our communities and our government to reduce inequalities, make sure that the data we have about people's health, especially those who are most at risk, is reliable and thorough, because organizations and governments have not always been and continue not to be very good at collecting the most comprehensive data. And often those who are most at risk, such as the homeless, will be neglected, overlooked, possibly eliminated completely from the data. And then also specifically to get the government to invest in primary health care and to get involved with organizations that are ensuring the whole globe is vaccinated and has adequate treatment for COVID-19. So the general inequalities, there are many related to things like food, especially food scarcity, but even more specifically this year, who would like us to think about healthcare in the midst of COVID-19, and especially making sure that those who are most at risk are getting adequate healthcare and are being represented. It can be difficult to think about data unless we work in an organization or an industry where we are involved in collecting the data. But that doesn't mean that those of us who are not involved can't at least pay attention to what is there, right? What are our media sources reporting to us? What are our representatives reporting to us? And what might be missing that we would like to know more about? In this video, I'll talk less about the data collection and more about other ways that we can get involved, especially as individuals, but also potentially as organizations, if we are involved in different kinds of organizations that might rally around the inequalities related to health and COVID. Some facts that are worth considering. In 2020, Pennsylvania actually ranked as the 8th state for the most number of children without health insurance. And in 2019, 4.6% of PA's children, which means anyone under the age of 19, were uninsured. And Cumberland and Perry counties in particular were among 22 counties with higher rates of children living in poverty for the past decade as of late 2020. Dauphin County as well, but Cumberland and Perry in particular in 2020. If you look back though at 2018, Dauphin County was definitely ahead of us if we live in Cumberland or Perry County. In 2018, 10.9% of Pennsylvanians experienced food insecurity, and the rates there for each of the 3 surrounding counties that the library is either situated in or around are listed here for you to see and compare depending on where you live. So this is not an insignificant number, right? And obviously our counties and our state need to do better, as well as our country and our globe, as I will talk about in a little bit. So what can you do? The World Health Organization would like us to get involved with our governments, and whether we are eligible to vote or not, we can contact our representatives and organizations at the local and state levels. If we are involved in organizations that are able to rally together, whether that is a church organization or something else, then perhaps we can even get those kinds of associations to get involved in these things. But all of us, whether we are eligible to vote or not, can contact our representatives, and I will show you how to do that in a minute. We can also attend town halls and other meetings to speak out. And right now, a lot of our local representatives will hold those town meetings on Zoom. So you don't necessarily have to worry about COVID right now because you can attend to these things on Zoom. And then if you are eligible to vote, you should definitely vote, but not just vote, actually do research and pay attention to what the people you are voting for stand for. If they have a record of neglecting the health and welfare of children and taking money away from children to give to something that you don't think they should be giving it to, or if you just think that they should be spending more money on children's health, then you need to pay attention, right? And think about, is this the person I want to vote for? Vote your conscience. It is not for me to tell you who to vote for. It is for me to tell you that you should learn who your elected officials are before you vote for them. One helpful site, regardless of whether you're eligible to vote or not, it doesn't matter what your age or what your status is. You can get in touch with the people who represent you in both the state and the US legislatures. And I will show you later how to get in touch with our US Congress people. But for right now, if you Google PA state legislators, or if you Google find my PA senator, find my PA representative, any of those things, you can get to the website for the Pennsylvania General Assembly that will help you to actually find your representative and your senator for the district in the state where you live. It might be different for me than for you, so I'm not going to go looking for it right now, but you basically have to fill in your Pennsylvania address, the residential address, not a PO box, and then you can get your information about how to contact them. You can email them, you can call them, depending on what you are able to do and prefer. And you do not have to be a certain age. You will need to be able to provide contact information, but you don't have to be a certain age. Obviously, you have to be old enough to be able to express what you're thinking. Another helpful page on the Cumberland County Library's website, if you go to our website and under the menus, the one for services, if you select community, it will load this page, and then you can look up under local government according to the borough where you live, if you live in Cumberland County, and find information. So the library is in East Pennsboro Township. So anyone in East Pennsboro Township can click here, and it will give us our township website where we can go to find information and contact people if there are things related to East Pennsboro Township that we would like our representatives and those who are working for the township to know. You can also do this for Cumberland County and get in touch with, or Dauphin County or Perry County, and get in touch with your county commissioners about these kinds of issues. Often, healthcare and food type of programs happen more at the state and the federal level. So in those cases, you probably are more going to want to contact state and federal officials, but there might be times when you need to contact these people as well, so you can get to your townships and your boroughs through the Cumberland County webpage. Another helpful site I want to show you is a place called Ballotpedia. You can Google it and find it pretty easily. This site is helpful because it is a nonpartisan website that provides information about pretty much every person who is running for office or who has been elected to office around the United States. So you see here, if you open the main website, over here you can go to 2021 elections. There's not a lot going on in Pennsylvania as far as our governor is not up for re-election right now. And this is not a big year for the US Congress, but you can find all of the different things that people will be voting on throughout the country, and then find information about your particular state voting district and all of that. And then you can get information specifically about the people who are running. So there's not really a whole lot going on in Pennsylvania right now, but I can show you, for example, if we go to New Jersey, which has not had its primary yet, so there's not a lot of information yet, but we can click on one of the people running to get information about them and see where they stand on issues. And here's the page that Ballotpedia has provided with basic information about them. And then there's also a link. If you scroll down the page a little bit, it's not wanting to scroll for me. There we go. So if you scroll down the page a little bit, you can also connect then to that person's website, their Facebook page, Twitter, all of those things, where you can get information from their perspective and find out what they have to say and where they stand on issues. And then you should also be able to get information about how to contact these people. So Ballotpedia is a good place to go as a central location that is nonpartisan. They are not trying to get you to vote Democrat, Republican, anything in between. They just want you to be an informed voter if you are able to vote. And if you are not able to vote, then to be someone who can talk to voters and keep them informed so that they can make decisions that are good for all of us. So keep that in mind, bookmark it, especially as elections come up. The primaries will be in May here in Pennsylvania, and then there will be another general election in November. One last thing regarding voting: be an informed voter, but also if you can vote, make sure you're registered to vote. And so here is the site if you are not registered to vote but are eligible, or if you're going to be eligible soon. You can go to PA online voter registration. You can search for register to vote PA and get this information and fill it out, and then just submit it online. And then they will send you your voter card with information about where you can vote. So those are all important things, because there's only so much that each of us can do individually, right? There's only so much I can do as one person when it comes to putting a dent in the inequalities around the world concerning things like food accessibility and healthcare accessibility. Most of the ways that these things can be impacted are at the larger level with organizations and governments, right? So as individuals, we can donate money, we can donate time. If you really believe in a candidate, you can volunteer and help them campaign. You can donate money to their campaign. But more than anything else, it's about getting our voices heard so that our elected officials and so that other people who can make these decisions and have a big impact will know that this is what we want and this is how our tax dollars should be spent. That's at the state and local level, but the World Health Organization also wants us to think about these things at national and especially global levels. So here are some things to think about with regard to health and food concerns at the national and global levels. In 2018, 4 million children in the United States were uninsured. And in 2019, 26.1 million Americans of all ages were uninsured. At least half of the world's population actually lacks adequate health care, and 11.5% of Americans experienced food insecurity in 2018, while almost 690 million people globally went hungry in 2019, and 1/3 of children worldwide under the age of 5 are malnourished. So these are big issues. I bring up the food scarcity and malnourishment because although the World Health Organization is focusing specifically on healthcare, all of it is interrelated, right? If you are malnourished, then you don't have adequate health in the first place. So again, what can we do? Once again, we can contact our representatives and organizations at the national level and vote. We can also donate our time and money to organizations working to reduce inequality. It is not for the library to tell you where you should be donating your money. That is totally your choice or your time, or you might not want to donate at all. But for anyone who is interested, it's again important not just to be an informed voter, but also to be informed about where you give your time and your money. And so a place that is, again, nonpartisan, where you can go to get some helpful information is a website called inequality.org. If you just search that, you'll get this website, and then under resources, at the top of the page, you can look up organizations. And if you go down this page just a little bit, you'll find public interest groups as well as organizing projects, which are both things that you can get involved in different ways. So you can learn about different kinds of organizations that are involved in healthcare and other inequalities and get some information about them, and then decide if you want to be involved. There are so many issues related to healthcare and health and inequality that there are just many ways that you can get involved if you would like to. The important thing through all of this is to stay informed, right? It can seem very overwhelming to deal with inequalities because so much of it happens at the larger level of infrastructure where governments, corporations, and other major organizations set things up in a way that impact the rest of us in different ways. So as individuals and even as small groups and organizations, it can seem just impossible to be able to even make a dent in any of these inequalities. but that doesn't mean we can't do something. Ultimately, it is up to these larger groups to be able to push forward with these injustices in our world, including the ones the World Health Organization wants us to be involved in. But that doesn't mean that the rest of us can't be involved by learning more about inequalities. Find information from reliable sources too. The libraries have access to books and other resources that can provide reliable information. Get information from reliable news outlets. Be careful about social media. You don't necessarily always know where information is coming from. Look at the sources of information and learn about them. Because if you don't recognize the name of a person or a group, you want to find out what they are associated with to see if you trust them as a source for information. Everybody can take information and twist it in a way that works for them. And it's important, if we are actually going to stay informed, that we're making sure we're getting our information from places that do not twist the information. That's actually related to the World Health Organization's goal for this year of making sure that adequate data is reported. Sometimes it's a matter of not reporting things that make certain organizations or groups look bad too. So know where the information is coming from. Be involved by voting if you can vote, talking to our representatives and other elected officials who can make a difference, and talk to other people too, especially if those people might be able to have an impact. It's not up to any one of us, but it's up to all of us. And that's why the World Health Organization does this as a global initiative every year, having a World Health Day. All of our governments need to be involved. All of us as citizens of the globe need to be involved. Let's hope that this is going to be a safe and healthy 2021 for all of us.